Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, this is an exciting opportunity because our tax code is so broken. And I've heard from my colleagues on this side of the aisle, and they all seem to say the same thing, which is this is a mess. This tax code, which hasn't been reformed in any substantial way in 31 years, is desperately in need of an overhaul. And they also support middle-class tax cuts, which is exactly what's going on here. So we should try to work together. Look, I remember the working group that I co-chaired. I remember sitting in on a lot of those 70 hearings we talked about. We had 5 working groups, by the way, and they were all bipartisan. The working group that I co-chaired was on international, and we basically said 2 things. One, we've got to lower the business rate so that it is not the highest rate in the world, because until we do that, you're going to continue to see jobs and investment go overseas. And we said we've got to switch to an international system that keeps us up with the rest of the world so that we can be competitive, and that means that our workers aren't competing with one hand tied behind their back. That's what this does. Now, there might be some specifics where we have some disagreements, but I got to tell you, this has never been partisan before. It was part of the Simpson-Bowles Commission. They recommended the same thing. And so my hope is that on these proposals, we can achieve a level of bipartisanship, and we can actually get this done because it is so needed, so critical. By the way, back in 1986, last time we reformed this tax code, Pete Rose was still playing for the Cincinnati Reds. That's how long ago it was. When we did the international side, it was back in the 60s. The international code could qualify for AARP benefits. It's that old. So we need this desperately. I heard a lot of talk today about middle-class tax cuts not being in this proposal. I got to tell you, they're here, and that's what all the analysis says. In Ohio, we're going to see a cut for middle-class families. They're going to see tax relief that's significant. We are told that the median family income family in Ohio is going to see a tax cut of about $2,400 a year. I was asked in the hall by some reporters, well, why is that meaningful? It's meaningful because a lot of people I represent are living paycheck to paycheck. This will help with that car payment. This will help maybe save a little for vacation, maybe save a little for retirement. So it's really important. And my Democratic colleagues have claimed that somehow that's not real tax relief. Let me say that nationally, the number is about $1,500. That's a 40% cut in people's taxes. For the single parent, income of about $41,000, median income, it's about a 55% reduction in their income tax, their federal income tax. That's significant. So it's in here. But don't believe me. I know everybody believes the media, so let's see what Politico has to say. Middle class, biggest winners in Senate tax plan, study says. Guess what that study is? The study is from the Nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation. They're here today. They're the ones who do this analysis for us. We don't always agree with them, but boy, they're not partisan, I can tell you that. Here's their distribution tables. We've all got it. They're public now. You can go on jct.gov. Here's one right here. What this shows is that the middle-class tax cuts are real. People were talking earlier about, the firefighter making $50,000 to $75,000 a year. $18 billion tax cut in this package for people between $50,000 and $75,000 a year. Tax rate goes down. Under this proposal, it goes from about 14.8% in tax to an average of about 13.7% in tax. Again, these are the real numbers. Take a look at them. Go online yourself and take a look at them. And you'll see that every single income group in the middle class gets a tax cut. And again, it's meaningful and it is substantial. But let me finally say that I think what's going to be just as meaningful and maybe more meaningful for most of the families I represent is the fact they'll be able to have a better job. And that's why we have to reform and revamp this international system. Outrageous that we currently have jobs and investment going overseas because of our tax code. 4,700 companies, according to a recent study by Ernst & Young, would be American companies today if we'd had this kind of a code in place over the last 13 years. Instead, what are they? They're foreign companies. 3 times as many U.S. companies are being bought by foreign companies as U.S. companies buying them. Why? Because of our tax code. We should be outraged by that. It's our responsibility to fix it. No one else can. And by the way, who gets hurt? American workers. The Congressional Budget Office, another nonpartisan group here, has said that the workers in America have lower wages and lower benefits because of this broken tax code that we've got to fix. That's what this proposal does. And again, it's consistent with efforts that have been in the past bipartisan. So my hope is we can get this done for the people we represent. We can do it in a bipartisan way. I know I have a spirited debate here and on the floor. That's fine. But at the end of the day, let's come together and do something good that actually helps to fix a tax code that everyone acknowledges is broken.